Good evening, and welcome to Nox Historia. Tonight we travel to the world of ancient Persia, so set the day down. Whatever it asked of you today, it has already been given, and it is finished now. There is nothing left to solve, nothing left to carry, no hour left to keep. The light is going long and gold ahead of us, and the air is cooling on a high, dry plain. Come with me, slowly, and let the present loosen its hold. We are going somewhere very old and very calm. We are traveling to the high plains of what is now southern Iran, in the years around 500 before the Common Era. This is the age of Darius the Great, who took the throne in the year 522 and reigned until 486, and after him, his son, Xerxes. This is the Achaemenid Persian Empire at the very height of its power, the largest empire the world had yet seen, reaching from the edge of India to the shores of the Aegean, from the deserts of Egypt to the mountains of Central Asia. And we have come to its ceremonial heart, a palace city rising on a great stone terrace at the foot of a mountain. The place the Greeks would come to call Persepolis, the city of the Persians. And here is something most people never learn. In the West, we tend to meet Persia only as the villain in someone else's story, the vast, dark enemy in the old tales of the Greek wars, all threat and no face. But that is a shadow thrown by the people who once fought it, and it is not the truth. This was, in its day, the largest, most tolerant, and best administered empire the world had ever known. Its kings ruled dozens of peoples and let them keep their own gods, their own laws, their own languages. Its founder, Cyrus, was remembered even by those he had conquered as a restorer of customs rather than a destroyer of them. It laced its provinces together with a royal road nearly 2,000 miles long, and governed them through appointed regional lords called satraps, each a small king answering to the Great One. Tonight, we are not here for any war. We are here for the evening, for the lamps, the gardens, and the quiet. The part of Persia the old stories forgot to tell. You do not need to remember any of this. If you happen to fall asleep before we reach the end, that is exactly what this is for. So, let us begin. Let us walk up toward the great terrace as the last of the sun leaves it. See how it stands above the plain, a vast platform of dressed gray stone, longer than you can easily take in, raised by hand against the flank of the mountain the Persians called the Mountain of Mercy. Darius began it around the year 515, and it grew for 2 generations under his hands and his sons and his grandsons after. On the platform above us, the columns rise, slender and impossibly tall, their tops carved into the paired heads of bulls that once cradled the great cedar beams of the roofs. Cedar carried all the way from the mountains of Lebanon, cypress from far provinces, gold and ivory and lapis brought as tribute from the ends of the earth. It is going quiet up there now. The masons have set down their tools. The stone still holds the whole day's warmth and gives it slowly back to the cooling air. Climb the great stairway with me on these broad, shallow steps. They were cut low and gentle on purpose, so gentle that a rider could take them on horseback, so that no guest would ever arrive out of breath. And look, along the wall beside us, at the carvings in the fading light. Here, worked into the stone in one long, unhurried procession, come the peoples of the empire, 23 nations of them, each in their own dress, each bearing a gift for the king. Here are the Medes with their rounded caps, the Lydians leading horses, men bringing bowls and bracelets, a camel, a lion cub, a folded cloth. No one is in chains. They walk in dignity, gift in hand, carved shoulder to shoulder as equals in stone. And this is much of how we know what we know, not from guesswork, but because these people carved their own world onto these walls with such care that 2,500 years of wind and sun have not yet worn them smooth. Run your eye along them once more as the light goes amber, and then rose, and then blue. Look down now, over the parapet, at the town that spreads below the terrace in the dusk. For all its stone grandeur above, the city where people actually lived was built of humbler stuff. Sun-dried mud brick, warm and earth-colored, the same brick that has sheltered families on this plain for thousands of years. And here is a thing worth setting straight. The men and women who raised this place were not driven slaves, whatever the old Greek storytellers like to imagine. We know because their pay records survive. Tens of thousands of small clay tablets found in the terrace wall itself. They were workers, drawn from across the empire, and they were paid. In grain and wine and beer, and sometimes in silver. Women worked alongside the men, and for equal work drew equal rations. New mothers received an extra measure of wine or grain. Even the children of the workforce were counted and fed. Down there now, in the blue hour, the cook fires are being lit one by one, small orange points blooming across the town, and the day's labor softens into the smell of wood smoke and baking bread. Step with me into a courtyard, off the lane, into one of those mud brick homes. See how the house turns its back on the street and opens its face inward onto a small square of open sky, so the dust and noise stay outside and the family's life is kept cool and private in the middle. The floors are spread with woven carpets and felt, for the Persians were already, even then, a people of the loom, and a good rug was both a comfort and a kind of wealth you could roll up and carry. A few oil lamps have been lit, shallow clay dishes with a floating wick, and they throw a soft, moving gold across the walls. The evening has that particular hush of a house settling, a door, a low voice, the small sounds of a family drawing in together as the sky goes dark above the open court. Let us slip into the walled garden while there is still color in the sky. Because this, of all things, is Persia's gift to the whole world. Behind the wall, the ground has been laid out with water and green in a careful pattern. A rectangle quartered by narrow channels into 4 equal parts, a shape the Persians called the Chahar Bagh, the fourfold garden. Fruit trees and cypress and roses are set in their beds. The water is let in quietly from the hills through underground channels, the qanats, that Persian engineers had learned to drive for miles beneath the desert to bring the mountain snowmelt gently to the door. And here is the word worth keeping. The Persians called such an enclosed garden a paradisa, simply a wall around a green place. The Greeks borrowed that word, and it passed down through the centuries and softened on the tongue, and it became our word, paradise. So that every time, ever after, that anyone has spoken of paradise, of a garden at the end of all things, they have been speaking, without knowing it, a little of the Persian language, and picturing a walled garden very like this one, breathing out the scent of roses into the cooling dark. The kings kept the grandest of these gardens, with fruit trees planted in ranks and shaded walks and pavilions to sit in, and were so proud of them that a Persian nobleman thought it no shame at all to be praised for the trees he had planted with his own hands. To grow a garden here, in this dry land, was among the highest and gentlest things a person could do, and even a modest household kept its own small green square, walled against the dust, saved for exactly this hour of the evening. Back inside, the heart of the house is the hearth, and we are drawn to it as people always are. The fire matters here more than in most places, for in the old faith of this land, fire was holy, not a god to be worshipped, but the pure and living sign of the one great God of light, kept clean and never let to die. So the flame on this hearth is tended with a quiet care. Over it, the evening bread is baking. Barley was the staple grain of these plains, ground and mixed and slapped flat against the hot inner wall of a clay oven, and the smell of it fills the room, plain and good. A pot sits at the edge of the coals. The firelight moves on the low ceiling, and the warmth of it reaches you where you sit, and something in your shoulders begins, at last, to let go. Now the evening meal is being set out on a cloth spread over the carpet, and we may as well sit and share it, for the table of this world is one of its great quiet pleasures. There is the barley bread, warm and torn by hand. There are dates and figs, pistachios and almonds and walnuts. The Persians prize their fruits and nuts above almost anything, and a wealthy table might show a dozen kinds. There is lamb or kid cooked slow and soft, and herbs, and a thick sweetness of grape syrup. And there is wine, for the Persians were famous lovers of it. The historian Herodotus, who wrote of them from the Greek side, tells that they liked to debate their weightiest decisions twice, once over wine and again, soberly, the next morning, and only did the thing if it still seemed wise by both lights. It is a gentle sort of wisdom. Nothing at this meal is hurried. You eat a little and lean back, and the lamps burn steadily, and the night settles deeper around the courtyard walls. Let us leave the meal and look in on a small room where a scribe still works by the last of a lamp, because this quiet figure is the reason we can be here at all. Bent over a tablet of soft clay no larger than his palm, he presses a cut reed into its surface, wedge by wedge, in the script we call cuneiform, recording the day's small business. So many measures of grain paid out, so many jars of wine, a ration of flour for a party of travelers on the king's road. It seems the dullest work in the world, and yet it is precisely these records, the Persepolis fortification tablets, tens of thousands of them, sealed in the terrace and forgotten for 2,500 years, that let us see, more clearly than any monument, how ordinary people lived and were fed and paid. From receipts like this one, we know the wages of a laborer and the diet of a queen. And on a cliff far to the north, a king named Darius had his own account of himself carved into the living rock in 3 languages at once, the great Behistun inscription, which later scholars used, like a key, to unlock this very script. So the whole lost language came back to us because a proud king wanted his story kept, and a tired clerk, on an evening like this one, wrote down the price of grain. Somewhere nearby, voices have gathered in the dark of the courtyard, low and easy, and we drift toward them. This was, above all, a world of the spoken word, of stories told aloud and passed from grandparent to child around exactly such a fire as this. Someone is telling one now. An old tale, perhaps, of a hero and a horse, of a wise king and a hard journey. The sort of story that would one day be gathered up, long after this night, into Persia's great book of kings. The words rise and fall. A stringed instrument is plucked softly beneath them, keeping a slow time. You need not follow the tale to feel its shape, the gentle rhythm of a voice in the dark, telling something that has been told 1,000 times before and soothed 1,000 listeners to sleep, as it is soothing you now. Around the edges of the courtyard, the children who should be sleeping are being gathered in at last. There is the small resistance of the young at the end of every day, everywhere and in every age. One more question, one more circuit of the room, and then the giving way, the yawn, the settling. They are laid down on their mats among the carpets, close to the warmth. A mother's voice drops to almost nothing. In this house, and in every mud-brick house across the town below the terrace, the same quiet folding up is happening at once. The meal cleared, the little ones down, the day's long thread wound gently onto its spool. And high above them all, on the terrace, the great audience hall stands empty in the moonlight. This is the apadana, the vast throne hall that Darius began and Xerxes finished. A forest of columns, 36 of them within and more around, each one taller than 6 men standing on each other's shoulders, once roofed in fragrant cedar, once bright with paint and gold, where the king would receive the gift-bearing nations we watched climbing the stair. By day, it was the loudest, grandest room in the world. Now it is silent. The moon comes down between the columns and lays long, pale bars across the stone floor, and the carved bulls keep their patient watch over nothing at all but the night and the wind off the plain. There is a great peace in a mighty place at rest, a peace that only the very grandest and busiest of rooms can hold, once everyone has finally gone. It is time, now, to go to bed. Back in the house, the last small tasks are done. A lid set on the cooling pot, a door drawn to, the carpet smoothed. The lamps are pinched out one by one, and each leaves behind a thread of scented smoke and a little more of the dark. On the hearth, the fire is banked down carefully to embers, so that it will not die in the night and can be woken, glowing at dawn. You lie down among the soft weight of the rugs and felts, and they hold you, and the last red light of the coals breathes slowly on the wall, and there is nothing left in the whole night that you are required to do.